argue wherever you may be in this wonderful world in which we live. Welcome to the Unstoppable Lioness Show. You have two of us tonight going to sit and interject and talk and just kind of get us through the chaos of the times in which we live in. So, welcome, my lioness sister, Dr. Stephania. How are you today?
I am wonderful. I'm tired. You know what? I don't know about you, but is this has been the most unchristmassy Christmas I've probably ever experienced. Maybe just this year, everything that has gone on this year, and accumulation of the year, and just maybe the anticipation and the excitement of ready to get on to the new. And so you just kind of really want to just, and not taking away from what the season means, but all of the extra stuff. So ready to get past it, so ready, and so I'm ready to just I'm ready for January 1. I'm ready for a new season, a new year, and because I have I'm de- 2024 has depleted me.
Listen, I can so understand. I am, I've been talking about this in my lives, and that I'm in the midst of a manifestation season, and I'm really, really grateful, but it has tripled my workload.
Is it
And
one of
so
those things? Be
I
careful
can
what you
feel it.
ask for.
Absolutely. 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 And it's just, I mean, I guess 2024 has been a different year.
To say the least.
The peaks and the valleys have been unbelievable.
My God.
So, yeah,
I, I,
I'm
I
with you.
believe
I kind of
that.
want to exhale and go into the new.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? Is that feeling? I thought I was the only one, but I have an overwhelming feeling of anticipation of what next year is gonna bring. And don't get me wrong, 2024 has been a great year, but it has been a hard year in that, you know, it's been revealing, it's been confirming, and it's all the things that don't necessarily feel good, but is
Mhm,
necessary for our
mhm,
growth and for us
mhm,
to go from glory to glory and from faith to faith. And so we count it all joy, but because we're human, we can't help to say, when you ask, how are you? It's like, I'm tired.
But you know what's so blessed in that is that you can be honest and admit that,
Yes, yes. And that is
you
what,
know,
as lioness,
because
we have to learn how to be able to be honest about where we are and who we are. I think that we get to the point as women that we want to be able to be a certain way for everybody all the time, because we're used to showing up, we're used to being energetic, we're used to doing this and this. But I thank God that is that we have been given permission to
mhm,
be ourselves and not to be okay sometimes. Sometimes we're not okay. Sometimes we're tired. Sometimes we feel hopeless. Sometimes we have all the feelings and the emotions of human beings. You know what I'm saying? And so I hope that in this season, people will give themselves permission to feel whatever you feel. If you feel grief, if you feel sadness, if you feel loneliness, whatever you're feeling. I mean, it could be on the other side. If you're happy and you're joyous, whatever you're feeling, give yourself room, give yourself the space to feel it. And I think that's
That is
important.
so important. And especially we as women, because we as women, we hold everything inside. We lift everybody else up. We bear the weight of everybody else's emotions and feelings. And sometimes we don't deal with our own. And so that's part of navigating through the chaos is learning that we have to deal with what we're going through. And it's okay to be not okay.
That's it.
You know,
That's it. I
it,
and I'm learning that. I don't always have to have all the answers and the anecdote and all of that. Sometimes no, I don't know. And if I'm gonna be honest, I really don't care to know. I did not I have not thought about that. And let's talk tomorrow.
so let me ask you a question. How do you process when that place that you need to decompartmentalize, you need to de-stress and to take that step back?
Well, you know what? It's so important because what I've learned about my system is that if I don't do it, my body will force me into it, right? I'll end up with a sinus infection, a cold, or my body is going to begin to reject me. Like, you know what? You don't sit down and take a break. I'm going to do it for you. So I have to, so I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be ill. So when I feel myself getting tired, I just disconnect. I have days where I won't get out the bed. I just will, I'm going to do this today, and it's my computer might be in the bed with me, it might not. I may take 5 naps that day, but I allow my body to take whatever it wants to take. You ever been just sitting in a chair and you fall asleep and you be like, wow, that's because your body is trying to recharge and reju. And so if we don't give our bodies that opportunity, it's going to start breaking down on us, and we have to be well to run this race. I mean, as we begin to age, our health is very, very important because we're traveling. I mean, um, Elder, you've been all over. You've been in three probably cities this week. And so if you're not listening to your body, then you're going to be in trouble. And so it is important to listen to your body when you stress, when you start feeling anxiety and disconnected. When I start feeling those ways, I disconnect. I'm like, whatever was supposed to happen today is on its own. It's on its own. And so
That,
I
that's really good.
listen to their bodies because your body will tell you it's tired, and
Girl, my body been telling me that for the past 3 days. Supposed to be on vacation, and my body is just like,
then do you ever think about like just disconnecting, like what's the worst thing that happened? Like taking a whole 24 hours to yourself, just disconnecting. Like, I mean, nothing's gonna fall apart. I don't know why do we think that?
you know what? I don't know, and it's really strange because I guess we're so used to doing. It's like I have to train myself to not do because, to be honest, I don't know how to not do. I really don't know how to not do. The only time, and I tell people this, when I really want to disconnect in a vacation, I go on a cruise because I go out in the middle of the ocean. My phone is turned off. I'm not going to buy the Wi Fi on the ship. I'm just like, I'm in my own zone, my own space. I always get a room with a balcony so I could just sit on the balcony and watch the water and just disconnect. But if I am landlocked, where people have access to me, for some reason I feel like I've got to be available. And that's not a good thing. That is really not a good thing. And so I'm trying in this new season of life to teach myself. I say this all the time that I'm a recovering workaholic.
Okay.
Okay. I'm really trying not to be. but it's a difficult process. And so I really would like to encourage my lionesses out there to don't get like me. Make sure that you, as Dr. Stephanie is telling you, listen to your body. When your body is tired, sit your body down. When you feel that you are at that place of, I need rest, get the rest. Because I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying to get there. I really, really am. And I know how important it is at this stage of my life, because my body is not 20 anymore. And it knows it's not 20 anymore. And so I got to start treating it. It's really funny. Dr. Cindy Trim keeps saying, you're 21 years old and you have the energy of a 3-year-old. And I'm sitting there going, no, no, ma'am. I'm not feeling that. No, ma'am. But I really, it's a process, and I really have to get to that place. Seriously.
And so we have the physical aspect, right? But then we also have the mental, and that's where I struggle. So I know how to sit this body down, but I don't know how to rest my mind. I don't know how to disconnect mentally. I sometimes I wake up more tired than I was before I went to sleep because my mind never stops.
Mhm.
Um, you're constantly on your phone. If you're constantly downloading information, whether you're on social media, whether you're checking your emails, right? And so it never stops. You're doing this to this before you go to bed. Then you get up. Even when, like for me, I can't even watch a movie without my phone in my hand because if I'm not doing something else, then I'm gonna fall asleep on the movie, right?
Wow.
So I have to constantly keep my head stimulated, and so I'm I want to learn how to disconnect, like have a time. I said that I was gonna start in the new year that my phone is from 9 to 9,
Mm.
or 8 to 8, just a time where these are the times that I'm allotted to be on my phone doing anything, whether it's talking, social media, posting, whatever I do on it, that before 9 o'clock in the morning, for every time I wake up to 9, it belongs to God. It belongs to
Mm.
meditation. It belongs to just laying in His presence, doing absolutely nothing.
Mm.
And
That's
then,
good.
and then in the evening time, if I can't go to sleep, then read the Word, and not even read it on my phone. Go get a hard copy book or journal or do something, because this we are in this social media and this information age, and it is overwhelming. And then we're wondering why we have all of these issues and these thoughts and anxiety, and that's because we've downloaded all of the information that we've taken in, whether we were reading posts and reading people's lives and stories and the good and the bad, and we're taking all of that in, and we're not realizing how it is
Mhm.
affecting us mentally. You've ever had anxiety or been like worried about something and you don't even know why, and because you're
Yeah.
carrying other people's stuff. And so I want to learn how to decompress mentally and really, really be present. I do Pilates, right? And I love about, like how you said about going on the trip. I'm on a cruise. I'm like that about Pilates. Pilates is the hour, the 50 minutes rather, that I get to be in a class. You can't have no phone, you have nothing. That I get to totally be focused and centered and present,
Mhm.
not thinking about what all I got to do when I leave or anything. I've taught myself to be present in that 50 minutes. And anybody that can reach me in that 50 minutes, if anything happens in that 50 minutes, everybody's going to be all right. Because this is my 50 minutes, 2 days a week. And so I want to
Mhm.
expand on that going into the new year, finding more time to be able to just rest in God,
Mm.
because the Bible teaches us that there's a place in Him, and He gives us rest, and it's a rest that allows us to. I think it allows us to get younger, and you know what I'm saying. It's almost like
Right.
a transformative type of rest that I think that
Mhm.
when we can get into that secret place with Him, and deny everything else. That is what I'm striving for the new year for myself personally.
That's amazing. I think that the time frame of saying I'm not going to be on my phone is monumental. It really, really is, because that cycle just does not stop. It's like I wake up with my phone in the morning, and I claim it's just because the alarm is on it, so it wakes me up. But 99.9% of the time, I wake up before the alarm. I'm usually awake about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning anyway. And if I, I sometimes I pray, sometimes I don't. If I don't calm my mind back down to what you were saying, I'm on my phone. And it is literally, people that know me, they know that they get emails from me. I do my catch up in the middle of the night. Like, I'll respond to your texts, I'll respond to your emails and what have you, because I know once I hit the floor in the morning, work starts, and work does not let up for me. So it's like it just keeps going. Like, okay, so I'm in New Orleans right now. I'm supposed to be on PTO, but I've worked just about all day for the past 3 days. And it's like, because we're in this transition period, there's always some excuse. I got a new COO, I have a new SVP that's starting, and it's just like, and they don't know. And so, I'm still in that position where I have to have the answers, and I have to train at the same time to try to get them up to speed. And I'm like, and I'm working toward where that is no longer an issue for me, but currently I'm still dealing with what I'm dealing with. And so I know, just God, what you said about your mind shutting off, it never shuts off. And so then I'm trying to catch time to do things. It's like, this is so funny to me, because I was literally upset on Sunday because I like Lioness, the show, right? And it comes out every Sunday. But like, their season is now over, and so Lioness is like when I can just let my brain rest and I'm just into the show. And I was upset. I was like, wait a minute, there's not a new episode. And so I have to find
I've
something
waited for
else
it so I can binge.
grabs my attention.
No, I was saying I wait for all of them to come out so I can binge on it.
I did that the first season, and that's what got me hooked on it. And
Yep.
then they had the strike, the writer's strike, and so I had to wait like a year and a half before it came out again and stuff. But I do. There are times when I just need a movie, because I don't really and stuff. And so I don't have time, and I watch very, very little TV. But if I know when I'm like in that place of I need to just shut down, then I'll put on a movie, and it's got to keep my attention, because I'm a writer, so I can already figure out the plots and stuff. And so then it's lost my attention, but it's got to be something that'll keep my attention, and then my mind can just kind of rest for a little while. But yeah, I fully understand what you're saying. And we find ways to not allow everything around us to be our responsibility. That's what I'm struggling with, because I feel responsible for what's happening. And so I got to learn not to do that.
And so I have this thing that, sometimes that if it's gonna be done right, or if I gotta do it, I have to be involved in everything because of the level of expectation of I have. I want the excellence. I want the, okay, I'll do it myself, and I giving up control will help
Yep.
in that too. Feeling like, what, here, delegate and allowing people to make their mistakes, be who they are. Um, I guess I'm becoming that person too, because there used to be a time that I had to have my hand on everything because I just felt like that was the only way it was going to be done on the level that I needed to be done on. But guess what? I learned that It doesn't necessarily have to be on the level that I would do it on for it to be good, for it to be correct, for it to be okay.
Mm.
It is some, so I'm gonna give you an example. I used to, I won't ever forget, I lived in Dallas because I worked there for 3 years, right? And so people used to, and so living in Dallas is the first place I lived alone. Like, so because prior to that, I'm raising my daughter, people living, so, you're living with your family. So I was living with my family in Atlanta. But in Dallas, this was my own place. And so when I'm lived by myself, my house is like a model home. Like it's like a hotel. It's perfect. Like when I leave, everything is exactly where it should be, and it's nothing on the counters, and it's great, right? And so then I would have guests come over, right? And then I'll see them make the bed up, and the pillows are all wrong, and I would go in there and fix the pillows, and then I had to stop because I'm like, you can at least wait till they leave. Let them make up this bed. Let them do everything the way they do it. And it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I would catch myself in moments where, girl, you're doing too much. But but that it's
And then
just an
you make
over.
your guests uncomfortable.
Yeah. And so, right. So I'm like, the sheet hanging too low. I'm sitting, I can see where the sheet is hanging below the bed spring. I mean, it's driving me batty, but I love the fact that I'm so self aware, okay, that I can self correct. I can look at myself and say, now come on now, leave these folks alone. Quick, get out of here with the vacuum cleaner. They only here 2 days. Let them do whatever they need to do. Let these leave. But and so it leads me to talk about just the ability as women to become so in tune and so self-aware of even our faults. So you know what I'm saying? We we I know we want to focus on the good parts of us and our strengths, but it's important to know our weaknesses and the places that we fall short. Um, and to be able to catch yourself, what, maybe I did too much there. Maybe I said too much. Maybe, what, man, that is so powerful. And we're talking about lioness, right? And the pride and just, and there's nothing more powerful. I don't care what, nobody can tell me anything different. There's nothing more powerful than a self-aware woman. Nothing.
Absolutely.
That knows her strengths, but is just as aware as her weaknesses and aware of the areas, her pain points, her trigger points, and know how, and emotionally intelligent enough to manage those areas in a way that there's no self condemnation, but there's always self examination, if that makes sense.
Mhm. It makes perfect sense. And what you're saying, actually, when we become that aware of our faults, it increases our strengths because we learn to navigate through the faults so that they're not faults anymore. I mean, we're aware of it. We are aware of our limitations. We are aware of our triggers, and being aware of our triggers will help us to also heal. That's what I have found, because if there's something that I'm wearing on my sleeve, that the moment you say something, the moment you do this one thing, then it sits me into a tizzy. That's a trigger, and then that's a place that I need to allow God in to heal me, because something has happened for me to be that sensitive to it, that I will allow you to alter my whole atmosphere and who I am, just because you said one thing, just because you did one thing. And so this is part of how I try and help ladies to heal, because if you don't face it, if you don't trace where that came from, you can't face it and you can't heal from it. So when you know that there's something that's pushing your button like that, well, where did that come from? Why is that such a sensitive area for you, that you're reacting to somebody that didn't cause the problem to begin with, but just because they said something that was similar to somebody else and what they said, now you've read them the riot act, you ready to pull out your gun and shoot somebody, and it's not even their fault. They don't even know they said something wrong. They don't even know they did something wrong, but it's a trigger for you. So what you're saying is just so powerful that we have to come face to face with it so that we can deal with it, so that we can move on from it.
Mm-hmm. Um, Imagine getting to a place where you're triggered, but not only you know the trigger, you know why you're triggered, where you can confront, you know what, that's triggering to me
Mhm.
because this, when you can express to a person that the reason I react like that when this happens is because this happened in my life, and I'm not quite clearly, I'm not healed from that, but at least I'm aware. You see what I'm saying? I'm
Mhm.
aware that every time I hear that, it reminds me of this. And that is probably why, I lose my temper or I become, closed off or this and that. And that is what self-aware. Self-aware is just saying, listen, I know I'm messed up. I know I can have a bad attitude. I know. It's saying I know. And because now you take the burden off of the people who love you, trying to
Mhm.
figure out how to tell you about yourself.
Mhm.
And you see what I'm saying? And now you take the burden off the people around you because they like, she's aware, she knows, and she's working on it. And that's the best that we can do, and pray that God gives us the fortitude and the wherewithal and everything we need to continue on a journey, because it's a process, because our triggers and something that we deal with could come from when we were 3 years old. And so that could be 50 years of something that trigger that you've carried. You're not going to lose that trigger in 3 counseling sessions, or just, it's going to take time. But the
Mhm.
more you're aware of the things, the people, places, and things that trigger you,
Mhm.
the more you can begin to understand how you can heal in a way that makes sense for you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
what happens is, I think we grew up in a generation where we heard things like, "Oh, that's just them," and so we allow people to not be accountable for their bad behavior, and we've just assessed it as, that's just them. Oh, she cussed people out. That's just her. It ain't. No, no, no. We're no longer just accepting. And let me be clear. And I'm talking about, we should no longer be accepting that from ourselves. That
Yes.
it's just like that. No, it's a reason why it's like that. And let's begin to pull back the layers so we can be healthy, so we can be better, so we can be better for our daughters, for the next
Mhm.
generation of women that we have to set an example for. My daughter tells me, it has my biggest lesson, and this came from my daughter, and telling me that I would always tell her, well, if I would have done this and I would have done that, and this is how I would have done it. And then one day she told me, she's like, well, Mom, I'm not you. I'm not you. Our stories are different. Our journey is different. Everything is going to be different. And so we process everything. We process everything through who we are,
Yeah. That's true.
you know. And everything is based on, but instead of processing through who the other person is. And so we have to just do the thing. So I had to learn how to not judge people based on what I would have done. Just because you don't wouldn't didn't do it the way I would have, don't mean that your way is wrong. Don't, you know what I'm saying? And so we have to, I think that when we learn how to have a greater self introspection ritual,
Mm.
that we can show up more for each other and
Yes.
better for each other.
I
Because I'm not,
wholeheartedly agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And if it means putting some candles around your bathtub and getting in the tub and just chilling, get a glass of wine, whatever it is that you need, just chill and do the reflection. Do the reflection. Because when you were talking, the first thing that came to my mind, and you said it, was we're so quick to say it's just who I am. Well, just because it's who you've been does not equate to who you are. Okay? It may have been who you were. It's not who you are. It is a persona that you've taken on because something happened. But it's not the internal person that God created you to be. So we have to stop making that excuse. And you said it so eloquently that it's just how I am. It's just who I am. No, no, you are a process into being who God created you to be. And if what you're doing does not align with the creator's vision of who you are. I go back to Miles Monroe all the time. If you want to know the purpose of a thing, ask the creator. Because if you don't know the purpose, you will abuse and abnormally use it.
Yes,
And
yes,
I did that for myself for many years. Okay. I abuse and abnormally use myself because I didn't know the purpose of me. And if we're going around and all we're declaring is just who I am, because you don't really know the purpose for what you were created to do, then you're abusing and abnormally using who you are. So, in that self reflection, it's very important to bring God into the equation and say, how did you create me? What did you create me to be? Who did you create me to be? What is the purpose for which you made me? Because I'm not here by circumstance. I'm not here by accident. I'm here on purpose for a purpose to carry out a purpose. So I need to understand my purpose. And when you start bringing him into the equation and asking the deep questions, why am I like this? Because no, I know for myself, when I went through my bitter years, I know it wasn't who I was, but I was reacting to something that happened to me. I was reacting to my pain instead of dealing with it. And so it made me embittered. And then I took it out on people that it wasn't their fault. So it's like we have to get to that place of, okay, it doesn't even feel natural to do what I'm doing. So why is it that I'm doing it? And in that retrospect, it's like, well, I didn't create me. I didn't put my personality in me. It has developed, but there are certain characteristics that were put in me and at creation. So let me go to my creator and say, why is this this? Is this part of what you placed in me, or is this something that I'm substituting for something that I should be addressing, or for something that I should be carrying out, or I should be enacting? Because it is our responsibility to make sure that those that God has created us for and connected us to, it's our responsibility that we're giving back to them what it is He placed within us, because that's why He put it there. So if we're just walking around with an excuse, it's just how I am, but it's not how you were created to be, then there's a problem.
I love that. I love because it's something you said is like, not only does it, just because it's who you are, it's not who you have to be. You know what I'm saying? That there's just because you have grown attached to that version of you, but in God all things new. All things are new. And so there is a newness that and an opportunity that we get every single day to walk in a newness. And old things have passed away and we get to do it unapologetically. We don't even have to explain. Well, you know what? Well, yesterday you said, yeah. Well, you used to, yeah, I did, but I don't feel that way anymore. I'm not like that. We have a right to change our minds. We have a right to grow into newer versions of ourselves that maybe wasn't as tolerant as the people we used to be, not as we grow because we adapt boundaries that don't allow something that we allowed in the past and now we no longer and because what happens is true change always is uncomfortable for the people around you.
Yeah.
Because just like you have grown accustomed to, that's just me, everybody around you have grown and adjusted to who you are. And so now you're getting ready to ruffle feathers. People are going, who does she think she is? And oh, now she got boundaries. Oh, she this. But you know what? You can't even be afraid of that, because that person is inside of you and wants to come out. It's so funny you talked about the creator. I have this thing that I say, I have an iPhone, and when my iPhone breaks down, I can't take my iPhone to Samsung. I have to take my iPhone to the Apple store. I can't even take my iPhone to AT&T, which is my provider. Okay, so AT&T is like the pastor, the leader. I can't even take my phone to the provider. If my phone actually breaks down, I have to take it back to the people that created it,
Yes.
because they know everything they put into this phone. And if the screen go out, they know why this is happening, they know why that, because they created it. They know every part of the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I look at God. It's like when we begin to break down and not understand, and have all of these this anxiety and all this fear and all this doubt, that is the time we go back to the creator, the person that created us, the person that knows every hair that is upon our head, the person who had a plan of good and not of evil, the person that knew us before we were even formed in our mother's womb. That is the only way we're going to be able to recalibrate. You know what I'm saying? And then get back to doing
Mm-hmm.
what we were created to do.
Mm-hmm.
Your phone ever go out and they say, hit this, and do a hard reset? That, not just turn it off. They call it a hard reset. Some of us need a hard reset. And what it goes in and do, it changes, it totally resets. When you do a hard reset on your cell phone, it goes back to its original state as if it was never used. So you have to reprogram it. It comes up hello, like it's brand new.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I'm preaching.
I think you are. I think you are. It goes back to the factory settings. The factory settings.
The factory
How did the
settings.
factory set it?
That's that, and that's it. And I think that I think it is so befitting that we're talking about this right now, because as we're approaching the end of a year, an end of a season, the end of something,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to get a hard reset,
Mm-hmm.
introspect, and understanding, and taking some time. And I think, like, me and my family, we decided to take a break from the whole Christmas, the traditional part of Christmas and gifts and all of that. We stepped away from it this year. And I believe that a lot of people need to do that, like take a
Great.
break from it,
Yes.
and still use the time for family and togetherness and all of that, but take all of the commercialism out of it, take all of the things that stress you out and all of that, and then you can get back to start refocusing and recentering on what's important. And especially going into the new year, because they call it new year for a reason. Because if it, other than that, it could just be another year. It's not another year, it's a new year. And I want to encourage the ladies to walk in to the new year expecting something new.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't pour new wine into old
No.
wineskin. So you can't walk in talk about I want something new, but you have not done the work to recreate, reset, get back, so the newness that awaits you on the other side can find its place in you. It can find rest in you. It can find its home in you, because you have got all the stuff out that needs to be out, and then God can begin to fill you and put in places and replace some of that stuff with the
Mhm.
things that we're going to need, that is going to fortify us for the next season.
That is so good. That is so good. And I agree with you. I encourage people all the time to walk away from the commercialism of the season because that's not what it's about. Get past, okay, first and foremost, Christ was not born on December 25th. So let's get past that. Okay. Once you can get past that, you celebrate him every day of your life if you are serving him. If you have made him Lord of your life, you celebrate the fact that he was born every single day. So we get past that. And then it's about, well, I love the season because it's a time of family gathering and family coming together. But don't wait until December 25th for your family to come together, for you to gather, for you to love one another. You know, and you can do that anywhere. It doesn't have to be around a tree with lights. It doesn't. I love what you're doing with your family this year. It's that's all. That is helping to detach from the chaos that's happening around us. This time of the year can be so stressful for people. And why? Why? Okay, so me normally I'm the week before Christmas on Amazon going, okay, I got 8 grands, I got 2 children, like, and all the boys get the same thing, all the girls get the same thing, and I'm done because I'm not gonna stress. Okay. In fact, just before we got on here, I took care of that. And it's the week before Christmas. I promise you. And I'm good. I'm good, because
That's
I'm not
awesome.
going to get caught up in the madness.
For what? I don't, me and my daughter, we talking, so I don't have any grandkids or anything, but we were just like, I'm like, I don't want nothing. I don't need nothing. Like, so we decided to, for Christmas Eve, we're making reservations at whatever restaurant we want to go to, and we're going to go as a family, and we're going to go eat, and we're going to break bread, and then Christmas morning, I'm going to get on the airplane because I'm going on vacation. I'm going to reset, get my mind ready for the new year, get ready because I know what 2025 is going to be off the chain, and I already know it. It is. I believe it, and I'm anticipating it, and I want to say this to the ladies, that sometimes things don't happen in our lives because we haven't prepared ourselves for it. I
Mm,
remember asking my pastor, this was years ago, I was going to this church, and we had built this really big church, right? But it was only like maybe 50 members, right? And so I asked my pastor one day, I said, are we ready if 1,000 people showed up at church tomorrow? Are we ready to serve these people, help these people do whatever? He said no. I said, well, that's why 1,000 people ain't gonna show up.
mm,
So a lot of times things don't show up in our lives, the opportunities we need, the relationships we need, the things that we need, because we're really not ready. We have not prepared ourselves for the things
mm.
that we're asking God for.
Yeah.
It's there is a responsibility that comes with the the children of Israel. They was a trip. Remember when it talks about them telling Moses, Moses, why do God talk to just you? Why are you the only person that get to go up and talk to him? And Moses said, well, y'all want to go? Okay. So he was telling them all of the things that they needed to do to get
Mhm.
in the presence of
There.
God.
Yes.
They was like, no, we good. You keep going.
When they heard the vibration of God's voice, they were like, you can have this.
And so and that's where we are. We want the success. We want the platform. We want the riches. We want all of it. But have we really prepared ourselves
Mm,
emotionally,
mm,
physically,
mm,
spirit? Are we prepared for what we're asking God and believing God for? Are we prepared? Many of us have not walked into what we're asking God for because we're not ready.
This is the perfect way to end the show. We've got about 40 seconds before it ends. But what you're saying is how you navigate through the chaos, being prepared for the now. We're always thinking about the next, but are you prepared for the now, right now? So, yeah.
That's
Kudos. Kudos. You did that. You
we
did
did that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Lionesses, I hope you tapped into all that was shared today because it was powerful. Merry Christmas. Have an incredible week. All right. God
Happy
bless.
holidays.